Yet another electric guitar to look at. We're going to be doing a quick unboxing video of this Donner electric guitar right here on Addicted to Gear. Stay tuned. Now, the reason why I picked up this Donner guitar in the first place is because I wanted to get something that wasn't going to cost too much money and was going to be a good modding platform. Got the usual stuff inside the case. This is a Donner strap. We have a Donner instrument cable with the usual Allen key and the little arm for the tremolo. Let's put that aside and open up this guy. I like the cheap guitars on Amazon because, as I mentioned, they're great modding platforms. So yeah, they're not gonna be fantastic guitars, but for somebody who knows how to work on guitars, they can be a great starting point. There we go. A nice Strat style guitar in red. Nice red sparkle body. I like it. So the appointments on this guitar are pretty much standard, and I'm always nervous about the neck. That's where I like to take a little bit more time and discuss exactly what it is and how it feels. The tuning's not bad. Okay. Overall impression on this guitar, straight out of the box, pretty nice. Sometimes you can make out like little checks in the body where the glue joints are not perfect. There, you can see little steps in the paint, but in this particular one, I don't see that. So both the front and the back seem quite nice. One thing I want to say though is my arm is getting tired. This thing's heavy. It's a heavy body. I'm curious to see how heavy it is. I don't have a scale in here, but it's definitely not the lightest body that I've ever held in my hands. One of the heavier ones. I gotta get a scale and see what that weight is. So let's look at the neck. The neck is the money part of the guitar. This is where oftentimes an inexpensive guitar will be made or broken depending on the attention to detail. So the first thing I'm gonna say is that the frets on this guitar definitely have some fret sprout. Being that it's winter time, humidity levels will cause fret sprout. Is it a big problem? Not really. A little bit of sandpaper and some attention to detail will fix that problem. The frets on this guitar are not huge. I would say they're medium-sized frets. They can stand to have a little fret polishing done to them. I can feel that they're not the smoothest in terms of how much polishing they did on the frets, but it doesn't seem bad. The neck material is supposed to be rosewood. I don't know what kind of species of rosewood it is. There's a lot of different types of rosewood necks, and you know, they're not all the same. They're not all the same darkness. This one doesn't seem to be that light. It's nice. I think once we oil it up, hydrate it a little bit, that'll do the job. Okay, the neck is pretty straight. There's not a lot of relief in it, so I'm sure it could stand with an overall adjustment of the relief on the neck. The contour of the neck is nice. It's not overly, it's not bulky. I would say it's very close to what I have on my Strats. Obviously the guitar's out of tune. That's not too surprising considering it got shipped in a box and, you know, was left outside in the cold and all that. The bridge is interesting because it's somewhat of a Strat style bridge, although the saddles are not the typical Strat saddles. I'm curious to see if this bridge would be able to be swapped out with a standard Fender type bridge. That's something that I may eventually do. The hardware seems good. The switch is a little stiff. It's probably not a high quality switch. The pots are quiet. I haven't looked underneath the pickguard to see if they're full-size pots, and I'm curious to see whether or not this body has routing where I can put 2 humbuckers. Often on these lower end guitars, the routing is done universally, so you can swap and put whatever you like in there. I don't expect too much out of the pickups. You know, just by looking at them, I can tell that the neck and the middle position pickup are kind of budget. You can tell that because of the color of the magnets and the fact that they're all, they're not staggered. You know, stuff that you would typically see on a lower end Squire. The pickguard is 3-ply, which is nice to see. It's a nice color. I still have the plastic protector on it, so it doesn't look extremely nice, but I'm gonna take that off. The back protector is not 3-ply. I don't know why they do that. Really cheap. This is cheap plastic. You can tell it's not the same as the pickguard. So eventually, if that bothers you, you can possibly change that out. Not a big deal, but it's just something that I noticed. And it's also very thick. So the back of the body, we can take a look at this little guy. It's got sort of an etched Donner logo in there. It has a little rubber gasket, so it protects the body's finish. It looks like it's laser etched in there, so it's probably there to stay. Interesting thing is the way they did the neck. The neck pocket's a little strange. And let me explain this to you. I don't know if you can see this here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and give you a tighter shot afterwards. But normally on a Strat, the pocket ends here. In this case, the pocket extends. So you have a flush mounted neck here, but on this side, unlike regular Strats, the pocket is a little bit thicker. So that's a little bit strange. It's the first time I see a guitar made that way. But it is a little odd that they decided to do it that way. The hardware seems good. The strap buttons seems like they're nice and tight. The little gaskets on the strap buttons are not felt. They're like rubber, white rubber. They kind of look budget. And as far as the tuners go, let's give this thing a whirl. Will they hold tune? Probably. But they're not high end. You can tell that they're budget tuners. I'll give you a shot of those as well. Nothing to write home about there. An easy upgrade to do if you're willing to put some extra money into the guitar. And one of the things that I find that is often overlooked on these less expensive guitars is the nut. So let's look at the nut here. You can see that it's plastic. It's clearly plastic. It's not bone or graphite or anything like that. Again, that can be easily remedied with a quick little upgrade. Overall, the adjustment of the strings, the way the nut is cut, is pretty good. It's not extremely high or anything like that. The slots are cut a little bit deep, but that again can be fixed. That's probably something that I would, if I decide to upgrade this guitar, definitely something that I can easily fix by changing that out. The truss rod is inside the top portion here, so it's easy to get to. I don't hear any buzzing. It sounds nice unplugged. Loud. And obviously the strings on this guitar are probably not going to be anything to write home about. I see some marks here in the bridge saddles. So I don't know what that's about. The bridge, it looks like it has a very thin block, which is common on these budget guitars. So probably nothing to write home about. The weight on the guitar, as I mentioned, is a little bit on the heavy side. So if you're looking for a pretty light guitar, this might not be it. The finish on the back of the neck is just satiny. So it's not sticky. There's no skunk stripe in there. So pretty basic back contour, but it's comfortable in the hand. Definitely nice to play. I would think that the contour on this would be, I can't tell just by looking at the neck. I would have to measure it, but it probably is like a 12 or 14 for a budget guitar, something that you want to mod, something that you want to give to your son or daughter as a beginner guitar. Is it as good as a budget Squire? I would say probably yes. Is it as good as a classic series Squire? That remains to be seen over time. We'll see how well the neck holds up and whether or not we have any issues with warping of the neck or anything like that. The major concern with some of these budget guitars is that the woods sometimes are not dried properly. They're not kiln dried, and basically the humidity level in the guitar is not as it should be. Normally it's about 4%. So if they rush them out of the manufacturer and they don't dry the woods properly, you could have issues with warping necks or checks in the body and all that kind of stuff. But we don't really know if that's the case or not. Hopefully these guitars are coming out of a factory that probably makes other higher end guitars as well. That's normally the case. So obviously that remains to be seen. It's not something that I can answer right off the bat, but honestly, so far for a primary unboxing, I'm pretty impressed with this guitar. It looks pretty nice. I think my son's gonna be super happy with this. Can't wait to get my hands on it and start modifying the heck out of it though. But hey, Donner, great guitar. Check it out. I'll put the link in the comments section below as to where you can get this guitar. I bought it on Amazon, as I mentioned. I'll put the price, and I'll definitely put a link to the follow-up video where we'll be doing a play test of it. And I'll wait to do the play test after I do an initial setup. We can look at it in more detail together and break it down for those of you that are really interested in getting into the nitty-gritty of this guitar, like I like to do. I like to get my hands dirty and take a look under the hood, so to speak. If you have any other things that you want to ask me about this guitar, always put your comments in the comment section. I'm going to answer every one of those questions, and it might take me a little bit of time, but I'll get around to it, I promise. So that's it for today's unboxing video. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, guys, because there's more great stuff coming your way.